I want to do an updated machine analysis for version 1.4. So let's start off with Blue Falcon here. And one of the same ones as last time is the easy control and can turn sharply. So that's always been Falcon's strongest point. But now with Falcon's boost and zipper speed upgrade, it's just an amazing buff for Falcon that made it, turned it into probably the weakest machine pre 1.3 and turned it into, you know, a contender for even the best machine, especially on courses with zippers, Deathwind, and Deathwind 2. It's, you know, can even outclass Fox there, where that used to be Deathwind 2. You wouldn't even be able to see Fox, and now Falcon can get 203s. So it's really strong, and it comes in handy in a lot of places, you know, such as like bumpers to hit zippers. If you have the slower machine off those zippers like Stingray, those bumpers can come up from behind because they have a faster zipper speed. But you don't have to worry about that with Falcon because you have the fastest zipper speed. And now with fast openers, it could contend with Fox. So it could potentially even just flat out on some courses where you should do it, just go for front runs and you're in position to do so. And just being in the front in general, you could kind of pick and choose what your strategy wants to be. It's just a lot better positioning, gives you more options. Then agility to avoid blues. Now that there's blues everywhere, avoiding them can be difficult sometimes, so having the agility to do so could possibly save you on a race there. And overall, it's just strong on any course. There's not really any course where you're like, oh no, I'm Falcon on this course. So, you know, it's just overall strong. And I guess the only course people have been mentioning is Mirror City 3. It's just because that's the other options for the machines. Like Fox can still kind of front run. It's not as strong as the other machines' highest potential though. With Goose and Stingray having speed retention off the speed bumps, they can do some really fast strategies with that. But you know, overall, Falcon's just good. And for the negatives, the same as knocked around in the pack. You know, obviously you usually save stuff for critical moments, turns and zippers, but you can't always have a spin for every situation. So sometimes with Falcon, you just take like a really nasty hit. He can knock you into red and all that stuff. So the knockback is real, especially in the pack with all the geese. So you gotta play around it and try to figure out positioning where it's not gonna happen. I wrote the next one in blue because it's not really the fault of Falcon. It's kind of you know, is referred to it as a skill issue. With the hybrid, you can put yourself in positions where you think you're doing good, but then you end up getting like 30th place because everyone passes you at a critical point. So what happens is, since like Falcon's a hybrid and you can start fast, but the problem is you can't keep that pace and you fall into the zone of not getting sparks. And then everyone behind you is going to end up with more energy and a skyway that, you know, drops in front of you, and then they'll be able to boost more than you. So you fall into these traps with the hybrid strategy. But if you're good enough, I suspect Falcons will be better at figuring these strategies out. It seems like Cybin is mastering this strategy. He gotten really insane ranks on all the SGDPs. So once we figure this out, Falcon's potentially has the highest potential to be the best machine. Moving on to Golden Fox here. As you can see, it's a huge difference from the earliest review I did where Fox was just pretty much the best on almost every course in the game, and not just the best. It was like you could not even catch him. Like you just would not see the Fox. It was that overpowered. So front runner controls bumper patterns. So on the dark courses, you can still do this, and you can still front run to a point. There's this times where you might have to dip in to get sparks, then front run out of that. So now you actually have to adapt some skill with Fox rather than just having unlimited boost. So that was a good nerf, and now it's a kind of high skill machine where you have to do some strategies with collecting sparks. And low Fox numbers, since Fox is a higher skill machine, you're not going to see many Foxes, which is good because Fox cancels out Fox, and that gives you more freedom to do Fox things and get an open course and not have to deal with chip damage from other Foxes. And like here's a negative, like I was saying before, Fox versus Fox. That's a deadly combination. And driving in the pack is the worst machine to drive in the pack. You get absolutely mauled. If you are not in a boost state with Fox and you go into a goose pack, you are just going to get smashed and like slammed into walls and lose your energy. Like you pretty much can't do it. So that's why it makes courses that are dense, like Big Blue and Port Town 1, they are very, very difficult. If you don't get clean sparks and timing to be in positions to do things perfectly, you just won't survive. So blue bumpers in non-boost areas because of the Fox's low speed, and if you're turning, it's even lower speed. You're dropping, down way low into like 400, maybe even less. And those bumpers are just going to sit on you. So those are tough combinations, and you get to figure out ways to not be in those situations. And the extra blues make front run even more difficult. So even if you do get good front runs, now with the extra blues, sometimes there's just they're maybe mixed in with other bumpers and stuff, and it's just such a, even if you do avoid them, you have to take a bad line and you lose time. So it's just a bad situation for Fox, especially when with these tight races and how good everyone is now, like losing even a fraction of a second is very important. And some courses are extremely difficult, requires Skyway durations non-boost. Like I noted those before in Big Blue and Port Town 1, and it applies to a lot of situations, but those are kind of the ones I've been having the most difficult time with. It has to now battle Falcon with opener, so Fox used to just get like the free, front run, but not anymore. Especially if Falcon could sit on Fox. And the high level of skill required, I'd say Fox is still a viable machine to pick and to win with. Like you can win and still in the hardest lobbies with it. It just requires such a level of high play that it's just not friendly to most people. Like we're talking about, like you have to be one of the best Foxes in the game to be able to do this performance. So it's understandable why it's seldomly picked, but when you do have that perfect GP and stuff, it's really rewarding, and you can do just when everything falls into place, and you can still win. Now going into Goose here, as you can see, it's like a whole wall of pros in the white text. Obviously that's what the meta is, Goose, Goose, Goose. It's so let's see what it does. Can tank through everything, reduce spin cooldown, feels like you could just spin non-stop now, blocking and back bumps. That's kind of how Goose gets around. Even the turns where it does lose speed, it gets propelled forward just because there's so many people, and you just get pushed forward a lot, even excelling the top speed, so even the 500s at times just driving normally. Doesn't take much collision damage, or knockback, so that's a huge, that's what's going on now since everyone's so good. It's just we're all in a dense pack, and Goose is just being at the best with that. Racing boost list for Skyways, so this is the Goose strategy. You pretty much could boost once per lap, and then use build-up Skyways along the way, so then rinse and repeat. It's just a really effective strategy. Goose Collective benefits Goose for sparks, so more Goose, like more sparks, and they just like it just adds up, and they just you can farm each other the whole race, and it's just not, it benefits Goose the most, because if you join that pack of geese, you're going to get slammed around with using the other machines. KO farming and GP, it's still really beneficial to KOs. The better lobbies, the harder it is to farm. A lot of times in the best lobbies, you're mostly just going for the smoking ones, so it's not much of a difference there. But in general, the lobbies, Goose can just is the best, just it's sitting on those and can farm them the best. With extra zippers and jump pads on mirror courses, Goose can hold boost and not deplete. So this was a huge kind of buff to Goose in a way, because Goose used to get depleted with trying to do 2 boosts per lap, but now with the extra zippers, where Goose would have to boost, now it's getting basically a free boost on the course, so it could hold more energy. so it's a huge advantage there. The fourth lap all-in strategy is kind of how everything I've talked about before. Goose can drive boostless for skyways, and now Goose has can end up in the fourth lap going in there with the most energy. So while other machines are possibly just hanging on by a thread, getting their whatever they can out of their last lap refill, and Goose can just be sitting there with like almost a max energy bar, and then just come in full force, just plowing through everyone. So that's just a really effective strategy, and one of the reasons why Goose is the best. And overall, it's just the easiest machine to play. That's why there's so many things to kind of comment here on a Goose. It just has so many advantages right now, and not really any negative to it. As you can see on the right side, I was kind of just thinking about what is Goose just not good at. I mean, besides the sluggish turns, and those kind of can get those back bumped out of there, and you have enough boost to even at times boost through like those areas like in Whiteland 2 and Portland 2. You can even, like, if you have enough boost, you could boost through those. So Goose can possibly overcome its weaknesses just with extra energy. So I mean, that's why Goose is just the best overall. It's easiest to use, has the least knockback, the easiest strategies to do. I mean, it's just overall the best machine now. And it's not totally the best at every single aspect, but it just adds up, and its survivability is a huge factor in that as well. Now let's go over Fire Stingray. So as our daily conversation in the F-Zero Discord is about balance, because Stingray is just really underpowered at the moment. So let's go over some benefits it does have. Maintaining max speed without having to boost corners. So obviously Sand Ocean is the Stingray holdout where you can do all this stuff and not boost. So if you do get a front run on that course, that's kind of like its sanctuary, where it can just have peace and quiet by itself and front run. And minimal speed loss over dirt, this can be a good advantage, because there are times where you can just drive over the dirt and not boost, and it's an effective strategy that really other machines can't do. Goose kind of, if you get proper back bumps, but no guarantee with that. And easier to pass bumpers at the 478. So when, like I mentioned before, the Fox and turns and going 400 with the bumpers, Stingray here has the advantage with that. It just kind of has to take the right lines, and it can make a good pass over the bumpers. Best speed retention for speed bumps, so those yellow speed bumps on the course, Stingray has the most speed retention from those. And even on the course like Mirror Mute City 3, if you hit them all correctly, you can get the 999 out of it, and it's a super effective strategy. Then I wrote in pink here, fairly good on Mirror King, because I wouldn't really. It's just not the best on Mirror King, but you can still do really well and even win. I'm not sure about the strongest lobbies, if the top Stingrays can do it, but this is because of the way these tracks are. They're longer tracks, and like the Deathwind 2 here doesn't have as many zippers, so Stingray has time to drive full speed and force the other machines to be at a lower speed, where all the implementations of the extra stuff on the other courses isn't there on Mirror King. And let's look at some of the negatives here, which is like a lot of things to go over. Knocked around easily. The Stingray lines are important, so this is a huge factor. Stingray has tough mobility to get around turns. You need to kind of prepare yourself and be in the right position. You can easily get knocked around and get turn locked, and then you just end up driving straight into a wall. Near courses with extra jumpers and boost pad are least helpful for Stingray. Bad at grade bumper farming, so I kind of thought of a strategy to maybe take higher risks to get grays, maybe even like boost into them and do that like just an all-out strategy, and that's where you use your boost. Because I don't know, Stingray just needs extra energy to perform well. If you do get extra KOs with Stingray, it does make a significant difference. A knock below 400 recovery is super slow, so when you just take a bad hit, you could just be, doing casually and just driving, and for some reason you just get dropped below 400, and you pretty much have to boost out of that when you're below 400, or most of the time not panic boost and hope for the back bumps. But if that's not there, like driving below 400 is just a no-go. You'll be not finishing that race. So jump pad opener could be auto rank out first lap. It's kind of the main thing I bring up with Stingray. It's just that opener is very bad, and the Deathwind one, obviously in the GP for night, pretty much if you don't get a lucky opener Stingray with back bumps, you're not going to even get past the first lap. Playing from behind can result in never getting out of the back of the pack and fewer sparks. So this is kind of the syndrome of that. Like Stingray plays catch up from behind because of slow acceleration, but sometimes if you just don't get in the mix, you don't get the resources even in the sparks, and you don't have boost to even catch up to the pack. So it's just kind of like a perpetual negative there. And as mentioned before, Deathwind 1 is pretty much what has made Stingray mains even not play Stingray in night anymore, just because you get sick of just all your GPs ending in Deathwind 1 just because that track it's just such an anti-Stingray track in every way. Most difficult and worst machines to use in stacked lobbies. So I think, this is the correct number, Yazo got 48th overall. And I think we're all familiar with Yazo. Like, that's the top of the top Stingrays. That's like world-class player there. And for someone that skilled to just get completely taken out of races just because your machine just isn't as good as the other machines, it really shows how weak it is compared to in comparison to the other machines, and how much it needs to figure out ways to buff this machine to make it viable to play, have a fourth machine in the game actually. And now the game balance proposals. Let's see how we fix the current meta. So Stingray centric, since Stingray's been left behind. Openers, jump pad opener, Stingray without back bumps gets left out of the race. I think the opener should be removed from the game. That's the simplest solution. It's so unbalanced that it's to the point of Stingray doesn't even get to participate in the race. So it's not like all openers need to be equal for all machines. It's just that opener just needs to be remixed or taken out completely because it just doesn't work. And Deathwind 1 should use the Sand Ocean cross section, or Whiteland 1 Mines zipper opener. So let's just take a look at the visuals for that. So you can see at the top, that's the jump pad opener, and those are the two best openers below that. The Sand Ocean one, you could potentially start in first place with Stingrays with these. Even if you do have a bad start position and you have the slow acceleration, a lot of times you're not left out of the race. So these are just better openers. I guess part of the what affects it too is these tracks they're just better tracks for Stingray in general, where Deathwind, the track itself is just, the whole track is anti-Stingray. So if anything, you just need to put the best Stingray start for a Deathwind 1 in the GP, or people just can't play Stingray on Night League, or even though Deathwind, Mirror Deathwind 1 has the extra speed bumps for the speed retention, which helps Stingray, but it's just still not really a worthwhile pick to be Stingray there. It's just not good. So better start with not starting so far behind, because Stingray can still rank out first lap there. So let's take a look at the Deathwind 1 with Stingray opener, see how bad it is. So I started in the first row, but the goose backlighted me and needed to dodge and not get any back bumps. You can see everyone else around me now is a Stingray. The race is pretty much over for all of us. It's just how long can we stick in the race? So I had the double boost there. I'm less than half energy. Not much boost again. This corner's when I'll break out. So that's just escaping the first lap. That's pretty much all I want to show. Obviously, I rank out this race, but don't want to carry that on. And then this just kind of repeats. So now I've used, I have one boost left, and then I'd have a sliver of health, if anything. And then it's unplayable for Stingray if that's what you have to do. Like all the other machines, the Goose have probably only boosted once or twice, and then, they're fine and they're far ahead, and I'll never be able to catch them. There's just literally nothing you can do with Stingray. So that shouldn't be the situation, and that's why this course should be rebalanced with a different opener and potentially some of the other things I'm going to mention to give Stingrays a chance on courses like this. Now let's take a look at another opener. So this was the Super Galactic Grand Prix near Photon 1. So a back row start with the jump pads. So this is the worst possible combination. As you can see, you're dead and flat. There's some fellow Stingrays. What will it take to get out of lap 1? So there it is. That's the disadvantage Stingray's at. Boosted to almost, depletion there. I think nothing left. And I didn't make any mistakes as far as driving going, but the start is so slow and such a disadvantage, there's nothing to do. But as you can see here, there's not a thing. Oliver in the Stingray is in first. So how does that happen? Well, Stingray, if in the starting position, can get propelled forward, and sometimes you just keep getting propelled forward. And if you look closely at the beginning of the clip here, Oliver is center middle, and in back of him is a Falcon and a Goose. So he must have just gotten like the best possible back bumps, and then to get sparks. So you can get in the mix with Stingray in these jump starts if you get propelled forward. But I mean, it's just like this circumstance doesn't happen often, and to rely on something like that is just that's not how an opener should be designed. Like just like the happenstance, you start in the perfect position, the person behind you gives you perfect back bumps. So, and you can see here the other people who ranked out are very elite Stingrays just on the first lap. There was a bunch of us got stuck back there. Boosting to depletion, couldn't get anywhere with it. And now there's one other video I want to show here. This is the same race near Photon 1, but with Maggie and the Goose. So let's see how different the race is. So he has good back bump, so this is an above average start with Goose, but let's just see what else he can do in the first lap here. He has not boosted yet. Here's the one boost. So he's his place is a little low, but he's building up a Skyway, so the Skyway is going to be really good timing on the second lap here, and put him in good position to get an additional one. But as you can see the huge difference here, like one boost and he's almost full energy, and now he's going to have a perfectly timed Skyway. Whereas the Stingrays are just boosting to depletion to get nowhere and like still stuck in last place. So that's how important it is to get into the pack and, you know, get your sparks and get your back bumps and all that stuff. So there needs to be the opener where Stingray has these opportunities and not just get stranded behind because of the opener. Openers in general, new designs. No new opening designs since launch. Adding new ones would be interesting. You know, that'd be a really cool thing to get, because like that's like adding a new track really, because the opener is really important, and to get something to be different would be really cool. Zippers and jump pads least benefit Stingray. Stingray exceed jump pad speed limit. This seems like it would break the 478 rule for top speed, but for balance reasons it would work. Courses like Near Mute City 1 are impossible for Stingray to compete in because all the machines can be at top max speed, then boost more than Stingray. So this is kind of like a course, poorly designed course to begin with, because Fox can just always be at boost or top speed, and that kind of the other machines less or so, but still more than Stingray. So it's just combinations of all the things that are kind of currently wrong. And a way that can be mitigated is if Stingray can break the top, you know, speed rule of the 478 off jump pads. If it can be like in the 490s, so it can actually, you know, get that advantage over the other machines, it would make a big difference. And you know, that would be applied throughout all the other courses where the jump pads hurt Stingray as well. Then for sparks, lower sparks amount for Skyway for Stingray from 63 to 53. To get out of the back of the pack, I think this would really help. A lot of times you just get stranded and you just need a few extra sparks and that would do it. I would also lower the spark amount for Fox to 58. So Fox is the most dangerous to play in the pack, and now it has to at times. So, and to even things out, and you know, that'd be it's a slight buff to Fox, which would be kind of needed at the moment, but just a very slight one. We don't want Fox getting like energy buffs or anything. And spin, give Stingray a double spin, so but with longer cooldown. So now this would be like a skill mechanic. So normally you just, you know, obviously use your spin in the most critical moment, but now if you get two with the longer cooldown, you wouldn't just be like spamming the spin button in panic mode. You would like be very carefully analyzing where to use these two spins, because using them in combination seems like it'd be a fun mechanic to add to the game. Then I'd give also this to Fox, a different version. So Fox boost refreshes spin. So it'd be cool if like you could spin with Fox, then boost, then get another spin out of that to get like out of whatever situation you boosted yourself into. And that would kind of maybe help with the Fox situation of just getting completely destroyed when you're in a non-boost state. And knockback, as we all talk about in the Discord, like why is the heaviest machine Stingray just getting bullied by everything it touches? So that would really help Stingray out a lot. I think that would balance the game on a lot more ways if Stingray had potential to push itself through crowds more. And that would even be applied to like even like farming bumpers and stuff. That would make a huge difference. It doesn't have to be like a tank like Goose, but just like give it less knockback, and that would make a huge difference. And overall, I'd say Falcon's well balanced. You can win. It has a lot of advantages. So I like where Falcon's at now. Fox can use a small buff of sparks to get to Skyway quicker and spin tactics. I think those two little small things would be cool for Fox. And Stingray, some alterations of many sorts, but takes small nudges to balance. You know, what you don't have is just, you don't want Stingray to just be this, you know, breakaway machine that always gets front runs and you can't catch it, but that would take a lot to get to that point. So this like small alterations would be cool and give some special abilities. Then this one I left nondescript because I didn't want anyone reading ahead to see what I want to do with Goose. So I called this the Meta Breaker, and this would be a collective punishment for being Goose. So what this would do is I'd want Goose on Goose collisions to be more damage to each other, but no other machines. So how Goose benefits is all the gooses just propel each other forward all the time and give each other sparks, and they just, it benefits them, but not really. It just like to get in there with them, you just get destroyed. So there should be a little negative for Goose, because right now there's not really any negative to picking Goose. And I'd want it basically to only be like 1 to 2 boosts worth of energy. Maybe 2 would be excessive. So just a small amount extra. So as the times go, you can see our race times are so close that 1 second can mean a lot of places. And just losing a little extra energy, maybe having to hold back and not use an extra boost would be enough for other machines to be more viable, and for Goose not to completely dominate the current meta. And so that's my overall take on version 1.4. There's just some balance needed, and some things have been lagging since the game came out. Like Stingray's always had a massive disadvantage on the jump pads, and some other stuff that changes made along the way. And our skill level overall, the players, has changed so much. So things are just changing in the meta, with the actual people playing the game. So things are just gonna have to change as we move along here. And every time the developers come out with new stuff, it's always been great and exciting. I guess what's on my wish list now would be the more secret tracks. So if they make a secret GP, 3 more secret tracks, and design those in a way, and to even possibly make another Stingray Ocean type situation where Stingray has the potential to be the best machine for the course, and it's like Port Town 2 with the longer and more curves like that. It'd be really cool to have something like that. And then there'd be like the finale secret track, and you can make that just completely crazy. So there's a lot that can still be done. Hopefully they do that in the future, because that's why I most want to see, like, once they say secret tracks are coming out, that was always the most exciting thing for me.